Welcome to No Ordinary Woman, where we recognise and celebrate women of all ages and all stages. Today I've got Leigh Mason joining me, and I'm just so excited to share her story. Hi, Leigh.
Hi, how are you, Fiona?
Good. Welcome to the show. And thank you
for having me
on. So Leigh has got an amazing No Ordinary Woman story, and I'm just going to give you a rundown of a bit of Leigh's timeline to date. Leigh started out hanging around the pool when she was younger because her mum was a lifeguard. And when she was 19, she came to Australia on holiday and fell in love with it, didn't you, Leigh?
I did, absolutely. First 5 minutes, I was hooked.
She was hooked. So she went back and then she decided she was going to come and live with us forever. But at 23, she got married, and Leigh was very into, and the reason I'm telling you this is because it all ties together, but she was very into water safety, and her mum was very big, obviously, on swimming teaching and water safety. But Leigh then got sidetracked into a career in fashion where she was, get this, a garment technologist. And you can explain a little bit about that to us in a minute, Leigh. And then you came to Australia where you were working for Coles Myer and doing designing shapewear. Thanks for that, by the way.
Yes.
And so before we go into the next leg of your life, which is where you then start your swimwear brand, tell us a little bit about you ending up as a what do we call it? A garment technologist.
So a garment technologist is how I try and explain it to people. Is a designer will create the sketch of what the t-shirt, or in my particular case, it was corsetry, it was bras, would look like.
Yeah.
But then I would write the specification that you join piece A to B, and you would use an overlock machine, and you would have 14 stitches to the inch. See, I still know.
Yeah,
14 stitches to the inch, and you would use a 3 mil bite and yada yada. So it's right in the, it's like writing the recipe.
That is so cool. I didn't even know that existed, and I've been
Most people don't. Most people don't. No.
So you ended up designing the shapewear for Dr. 90210, right?
I did, yeah. So I spent a lot of time in the States. So Dr. Robert Ray's a very famous plastic surgeon, and I worked with him to launch and design his shapewear. So that was a lot of fun. The Hollywood years.
On behalf of every woman in the world, thank you.
Next time you've got that I'm your girl when you need a bit of advice, Fiona. Just call me.
I've been taking notes the whole time, I'm telling you. So from there, you decided to start and launch your own swimwear brand.
I did, yes.
Queensland Swimwear. Tell us about that.
So I started Queensland Swimwear. I was really passionate about Australian made, and you know, the whole thing is like making women feel good about themselves, sort of following on from, you know, the first thing any girl needs is a good fitting bra.
Thank you.
You know, shapewear, you know, the right underwear will create your outfit, but that's a whole nother talk. Yep. I started my swimwear label, and Queensland Swimwear, it's still online. And then I wanted a younger label, because a 20-year-old is potentially not going to wear the same swimsuit as maybe a 55-year-old.
Yes.
And it was just around that time that active wear was becoming the thing. So yes.
Right. So you've been, and yeah, I think it's amazing. So you went out and you set out to make swimwear that made women feel good about themselves, because there's nothing, I don't know about anybody else watching, but there have been many, many, many tears in dressing rooms trying on bras and swimwear, and then you just walk out just going, oh, that's it, I'm going and eating a large Big Mac meal. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, exactly. It's heartbreaking. And the thing is, I'll say one thing about the fashion thing. You wouldn't go in a shoe shop and expect every pair of shoes to fit you.
Yeah.
So why would you go and try swimwear on and think that every pair is supposed to make you look like amazing?
Yeah, it's
so you just stop, you know, just no, it's knowing the right pieces for your body shape.
That is so nice. And it's nice to have you know, when you find someone that actually cares about what happens to a person's self-esteem when they put on a favors. Yeah, that's
so amazing. I wanted to get to younger girls to help their self-esteem.
So when you decided you wanted to get into the younger market, this is where you met Maxi from Bondi Rescue. Is this right?
I did, yeah. So real name Trent Maxwell, but Everyone knows him as Maxi. You know, Maxi from Bondi Rescue. They remember him as the 16-year-old that got the call up off the school bench to, you know, go on the show. So yeah, so Maxi, you know, we started working together as a collaboration with the swimwear label.
Yeah.
But then that even took a twist.
Yes, and this is where what I love about your story is it kind of, there are two very distinct components to it. There's lifeguarding, water safety, swimming teaching, garment design, and then it kind of weaves in and out. So, okay, so just to catch everyone up, because even my brain's gone off track, is you teamed up with Maxi to target a younger group with your swimwear label, and then something unexpected came out of it, which was?
We ended up doing water safety, because we took a group of people with their children swimming at breakfast. So we did a sunrise swim and breakfast as a thank you to help us launch the brand. And it was the most, it was a life-changing couple of hours, because
what happened at that breakfast?
Well, I just stood back and saw all these kids reacting to Maxi and wanting to know this and wanting to know that and hanging on his every word and what you know, and I just like, whoa, hang on a minute. We may have started a fashion label, but like there's an element of education. You know, Maxi is this platform, and I was like, hang on, you've got to use this for good, you know. I'm going to get in your ear about this, you know, and that's where we had a bit of a swerve, and it was starting to look about using Maxi's knowledge to basically pass on to these kids that were just, you know, like little sponges for information from him.
So your focus went to water safety and education around safety at the beach and swimming and things like that.
Exactly. And I said to Maxi, you've got a great story. You need to write a book. But we had a problem because we didn't know anything about writing books.
So you teamed up?
But we found someone who did. So, we teamed up with David Lawrence, who is a Melbourne children's book writer, who happened to be a mutual friend of mine that, you know, they're part of a wine club together. So it just, that sort of connects all my friends nicely. But David, or as Maxi, as he's now known to us, Big Wave Dave, because every Dave is Big Wave Dave, helped us bring Maxi's story to life. And
hold up the stories.
Hold up.
These are the educational books of water safety for kids. So all of your passions and purpose are all just like weaving together in this amazing story and just unfolding in front of your eyes without any effort or force.
It was just like, this is what needs to happen. How are we going to make it happen? We don't know, but we'll go and find the people that do. So
and you didn't even know that it was meant to happen until you watched those kids.
Absolutely. And that was a random act of kindness. We literally we paid for all the kids to go swimming.
You had no agenda.
Had no agenda. And we just said, we can't afford to buy you breakfast, but we can treat you all to a swim. And if you want to come for breakfast, we'd love to, you know, we can share a coffee maybe, but we can't buy you all breakfast. And it was a random act of kindness.
Wow. So now you've got this swimwear label. Well, you've got your two swimwear labels, your Queensland Swimwear Co. for women who are saying thank you all over the place, and your Sunrise at Bondi. And now you are just shifting lanes and going into water safety and education with Maxi. Now, you and Maxi then started a company together so that you were, you know, the face and the brains and the brains and the face.
So we basically, I was 50 and we started a new business.
Wow.
And I almost like kept, you know, I still have the swimwear labels, but they're very much online and small. And I'm very happy with that because my passion is the kids and the education. So we founded Live, Learn, Survive while we were waiting for the books to become published. And then by default, we got asked to go and do a library talk.
Yeah.
And we went for free, mind you, as well,
Yeah.
because we didn't know people got paid for doing things like that. So we went for free, another random act of kindness, knowing that the kids would have a great time. And we didn't even know what a library talk was, but we got a awesome review.
Wow, that's so cool. So it's all these, like, this is a thing when your heart's in the right place.
Yes.
Suddenly just doors start
Yeah.
opening up, and
Yeah.
you're focusing on your passion.
Yeah, and you know, we always put the kids at the heart of everything we do. So before we make a decision, we think, is it right for the kids?
Yeah.
And if it's right for the kids, the rest of it follows. So
That's so good.
so yeah, library talks.
Sorry, say that again.
I said, so yes, there we were at library talks.
Now, how did things go? Because everything was going along swimmingly, and then COVID hit us. So
yes, so COVID hit, and from those library talks, we were literally just gaining momentum. We had schools, we realized the books met the curriculum. We were starting to get into schools, we were starting to get into libraries. We were about to do our third tour to the UK in 2 years. We'd spoken to 14,000 children face to face in just under 2 years. And then March the 16th or whatever it was last year, Maxi and I had our first Zoom lesson, and we just said, what are we going to do? And you know, we knew that doing nothing was just not an option. So we started doing just quizzes online to basically give the kids something to focus on. We were getting messages. There were some seriously frightened and disturbed kids at that time, still are, you know, it's been a crazy time, but going online led us to work on something that we brought out earlier in the year, which is called Maxi's Rescue Squad. So now we have a global online platform of kids where they learn life skills that you know, they not only can look after themselves, but they can also look after their friends as well.
That's one of the beautiful things about what we all thought is a really horrible thing. And don't get me wrong, COVID was quite devastating for some people, but for other people, there was the best thing that could ever happen. So it's like when you decide that you can suddenly go global instead of going face to face. How did that impact?
And you know, I mean, for us financially, it was a disaster. But from a point of view, could we, you know, Maxi's still primarily a firefighter and a lifeguard, and he then gives his time to this when he can. We knew that we were going to be okay. We weren't going to not be able to eat. It wasn't our, you know, so that was the first sort of tick. The second tick was like, can we keep the business financially afloat from a point of commitments and things? And we worked out that we could. And then the thing was, again, back to the kids. Like we have to make this survive, because, you know, I sometimes get a message. If I get a message 7 o'clock on a Saturday night saying, can I talk to someone? We take that seriously, you know, you know, so we have to make it survive. So we created the rescue squad. And we've got kids learning, you know, about rips, rivers. This month we covered fire, next month's resuscitation.
That's unreal. So you're really making a difference in kids' life from a very practical perspective as well. As I imagine it impacts them in many more ways than just knowing, you know, having the practical safety side. But so the whole Leigh Mason story, though, like, you are an entrepreneur, you're a bit of a genius, you are very well, you're like a chameleon as well. It looks like you've reinvented yourself so many times, but all along the same lines. And it's funny how it's gone.
I'm a true Gemini, I think. Would you guess that? But you know what? I think it's just staying true to who you are. You know, I'm very you know, even from a really young age, I used to watch my mum study. You know, my mum taught me that you can do anything as long as you put in the hard work. There's no shortcuts. I you know, I get a bit disillusioned sometimes, you know, if some people, like younger people, think that it's a quick, you know, you've got to be authentic. It's got to come from your heart. If you doesn't come from your heart, you just can't do it. So I think everything that I've done has always been aligned with my own vision and values.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So I've been very lucky.
Yeah, I think that it's something that people find goes missing in their lives. You know, if you're lucky enough, like you are, to have it's always been embedded. But I know lots of people who have lost contact and connection with that purpose and passion that they've had through, you know, usually no fault of their own, but for one reason or another. But when you are in line, and it's one thing that I love about the fact that we seem to be built for purpose, when you're in line with that, the things just come to you and things line up for you, like the stars line up and the ducks go in a row. But you're right, nothing worthwhile is easy. It's always hard work, and you do have to put the effort in. And
absolutely.
I just wanted to ask you though, like throughout your entire career, and you've had a lot of experiences. I mean, your fashion career took you, you know, constantly overseas all the time, and this part has taken you around Australia. But what are you most proud of out of all of your achievements?
You know what? It really is the little things. It's when, you know, back to the fashion days, when you literally reduce a woman to tears because you've put her in something that makes her feel good. That's number one. And in a funny way, we probably, I don't want to detract the time thing, but it's like, I think so many women, if we could get rid of some of those insecurities in younger girls, so they don't need the therapy for the older ladies, not older ladies, more mature, says her, one of them. But it's like, you know, we had a little girl in the school not want a photograph, or not say she would have a photograph with Maxi because she's not pretty enough.
Oh, darling.
Not on my watch.
No.
That girl got the photograph.
Oh, beautiful.
That's the bit that makes me proud, that when we get a message and that kid does not expect to get an answer, and they know that it's me that answers. You know, that's the stuff that matters, not because all kids want to do is to belong to a community. They want to be seen, they want to be heard. And sometimes these kids are reaching out to us from the other side of the planet. So just being there for the kids, number one.
So you obviously love making a difference in people's lives, and that's been a very clear theme throughout all of your different career.
Yes.
And with that in mind, when you look back over your career to date and just all of the amazing things you've done, now you don't get to where you are and do what you've done without having to overcome some serious fears, maybe your own self-doubts and all that sort of stuff to push through those limitations. When you look back, what have you learned most about yourself, and what do you feel about yourself when you look back over it?
Do you know what? I think that, and this is one of the things that, you know, I said to Maxi, but when we had about 3 publishers turn us down with the books, and Maxi was like, you know, well, is that it then? You know, and I was like, are you for real? You know, there's how many billion people on this planet? We've heard from 3. Like, you know, and it's like, so now we say that a no is always a yes somewhere else.
Oh, I love that.
So we don't, you know, that's a no, but that's only a no from that person. And that almost comes back into you find your tribe, because we know what we're doing. You know, this is, you know, we are breaking rules. We are reinventing education in a way. We're not educators. We are going out there doing something very different. So people aren't going to get the people that only think in the mainstream are not going to get that. Because that's not who they are. And that's not that they're wrong or you're wrong or they're right or it's just, they're just not your people.
So safe to say you've learnt about yourself that you don't take no for an answer, and you don't give up, and you don't
absolutely. 6 people told me I'd never live in Australia, Fiona, and here I am in Brisbane. Woo!
For us, sucks to be the UK. We got
exactly.
Well, we're running out of time, and I just wanted to thank you so much for coming and sharing your amazing No Ordinary Woman story. Now, I am going to leave some links to Leigh's business, to the rescue squad, and to Leigh's amazing shapewear women's swimwear as well range. So if you want to know more about it, I'll leave all the links in the comments, and you can go and check it out for yourself. But Leigh, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. I'm so glad we met.
Yes, me too. Well, you keep going being awesome, and we will catch you next time for No Ordinary Woman.
Thanks, Fiona. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.